New York State has been rolling out the red carpet for Hollywood, offering big incentives to bring film and TV productions here, like who could forget Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in 2015. But is the state's film tax credit really a boost for the economy or just a handout to the industry? Two on your side's Nate Benson has been digging into the numbers and the debate behind this multi-million-dollar program in this Two on Your Side original, first at 4.
Live from New York, it's Saturday night!
In a top 5 list of the most New York things ever, Saturday Night Live has to be near the top, right? The show is celebrating its 50th season on the air. But for more than a decade, SNL and hundreds of other TV and film productions have benefited from the New York State Film Tax Credit. And that program
incentivizes projects to either locate in New York or do their post-production in New York.
That's Yoni Boxer, the executive director of the New York State Governor's Office of Motion Picture and TV Development. It's part of Empire State Development, the state's economic and investment arm. We'll get back to him in a moment. Since the third quarter of 2016, which is as far back as the state data is easily found, New York State has given film and TV productions more than $5.8 billion. That's billion with a B. And the tax credit is a direct reimbursement, meaning the state cuts the production company a check. And a production can receive as much as 30% of its production expenses back from the state. Some of your favorite films and programs have received tens of millions, even hundreds of millions of dollars from this tax credit program. Saturday Night Live, $124 million. One season of The Gilded Age, $52 million. 3 seasons of Succession, $64 million. The Irishman, $35 million. Remember that prison escape from the Clinton Correctional Facility in Dannemora, New York in 2015? The state gave Showtime $21 million to tell the story about how 2 people escaped a state-operated prison. According to a report about tax incentive programs funded by the State Department of Taxation and Finance, the film credit program doled out billions of dollars and has created about 114,000 jobs. That report indicates, quote, the program does not provide a positive return to the state in terms of direct state tax revenue, with only 15 cents in revenue for every dollar invested. In terms of jobs, the report looks at the industry employment all the way back to the 1970s through 2022. In 1970, New York employed 21% of the film and TV industry. In 2022, it was 17%.
So you have to ask yourself, what's the return on investment here for this humongous taxpayer expense? And our answer is not very good.
John Caney is the executive director at the watchdog group Reinvent Albany. And one of the many reasons they're critical of the program is because
this money is off budget. So they actually take the subsidy out of revenue before it is transferred into the general fund. So it's never appropriated. And that's one of the reasons for its political success.
Is there really any oversight or scrutiny in terms of who's getting this and why?
I mean, it's pretty obvious, and Saturday Night Live is an example that is used over and over again of a place where it's, it's iconic. They literally use the New York City skyline and shots of street life in their opening and have for 50 years. They're not going anywhere. It's fairly ridiculous, and what it amounts to is just a massive, massive handout.
But Yoni Boxer argues otherwise.
They had a recent movie they made about Saturday Night Live, but they filmed it in Georgia because they had more aggressive tax credits.
That report by the Department of Taxation and Finance was extremely critical of the program, saying that, quote, the film production tax credit is at best a break-even proposition and more likely a net cost to New York State. It went on to say that, quote, the credit is more of an ongoing subsidy than a point-in-time incentive. And that's evident when you look at the quarterly production tax reports issued by the state. Series like SNL, Blue Bloods, Law & Order, Elementary, Madam Secretary all received tens of millions of dollars year after year.
The cost per job is about $75,000 in taxpayer subsidy for one full-time job equivalent for 1 year. Is that a worthwhile, efficient investment of taxpayer money? We would say no way.
Is it fair to say then this tax credit program is really a defense mechanism from productions leaving New York and going elsewhere like Canada, Georgia, Louisiana, elsewhere?
The program works to attract and retain jobs in New York.
During Governor Hochul's time in office, she has substantially increased the amount of money the state hands out to production companies. The cap for the incentive jumped from $400 million to $700 million per year in 2023, and the governor is proposing an additional $100 million in this year's budget, which would make the cap a total of $800 million annually. Why is it necessary for the state to continue to increase this tax credit program?
It's important that we attract productions here, and as the industry continues to grow, we want to have more tools to attract them here.
And Nate is here now. Thanks for joining us. First at 4, what was the most surprising part of this story when you started looking into it?
Lauren, for me, it was how the program is funded. You know, think about it as those contributions that come out of your paycheck that you never see. Because this program is part of the tax code, it's some of the first dollars that are set aside when the state collects tax revenue, and it's dedicated to this tax credit without ever being allocated to the state budget. The other interesting aspect is there's really no scrutiny over who gets what. So if you just qualify for the credit, you get the money, and you know your production will then get it.
And you have more to come tonight at 5:30.
Yeah, that's right. We're going to be looking a little bit closer at the local impact of this program, and if you just have seen Western New York, you know that there are now film studios here. There's full-time production crews that work out of Western New York, so at least locally, it's a very different picture. So we'll take a look at that at 11.
Sure, and all that amounts to more people coming here, staying in our hotels, eating in our restaurants.
Absolutely.
All right, Nate, thanks so much. We appreciate it.